you guys who write long songs. I tell you, John, it's beautiful. That's Back to School by John Anderson of Vangelis. And we'll be back to take your calls for John. The numbers are 800-421-3222. And in California, collect 213-520-5000. And we'll have John around, Jeff Lynne of ELO, the Little River Band, a live report on the Rolling Stones from Buffalo, all coming up when Rockline continues on the Global Satellite Network. I wouldn't have had you make it any shorter at all. Loved it. Rockline. This is Beamer back here on the Rockline with my guest, John Anderson. Before taking the calls, which are coming in like crazy through 800-421-3222, the toll-free number, call collect in California, 213-520-5000. I'm so glad you're here. I want to ask this question, John. Last Friday, September the 25th, marked the first anniversary of the death of John Bonham, Led Zeppelin. And for months afterwards, if you recall, there were rumors rampant because Yes had broken up, that concerning former Yes folk like Steve Howe, Chris Squire, Alan White, forming new groups with or without Led Zeppelin, survive. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
In the surviving members of Plant and Jones and Page. I mean, where does it all stack up today? What is the latest word, do you know?
Well, I think the basic thing was that Jimmy Page and Chris Squire have been great friends for a long time. And they just got together to do some recordings with Alan White, and it wasn't any further than that. And as far as I know, Alan and Chris are working on other things at the moment, so it was never a definite situation.
In the years since, there's nothing that's been formed on paper or recording anything?
Not at all, no.
Okay, thank you for bringing us up to date. That's a Rockline first. Thank you very, very much. We got it from your mouth. We have our first caller on the Rockline. It's John of Buffalo. Check in, John. Our Buffalo station being 97 Rock. Go ahead. John, are you there? Hello, John. Have we lost John? I guess we have. Do we have John of Philadelphia ready to talk to us? Is that who it is? Are we having trouble with our calls tonight? Oh, here we go. Who's this?
This is John from Philadelphia.
Okay, John of Philadelphia. How's Philadelphia doing these days?
Oh, great after last weekend.
Oh, that's right. You had the Stones for 2 days.
Yes, we did.
All right. Tell us all about it. Anyway, speak to John Anderson right now.
Okay, yeah. I'd like to know, did you listen to the last Yes album, Drama?
Yeah, I got the chance to listen, yeah.
What did you think of it and of Trevor Horn and the direction Yes took then?
Well, I was involved in the early stages of Drama when they were first rehearsing it, so I kind of understood where they were going, and I enjoyed the production on the album and the way it went, and I think the two new members were very, very good. It's just that it could never be exactly the same as the Yes that I was involved in, because the members had changed so much, so it was a little bit of a different kind of band, and that's the way it was. That's all I can say, really.
Does that answer your question, John?
Yeah, thank
John,
you.
answer me a question. How did you like the Stones?
Oh, they were great.
Which show did you see, the first or second?
No, I saw the second one.
I'm glad you're one of the first. We're looking forward to them out here in California in October. Thank you for the call.
Okay, bye.
Okay, we got John of Buffalo now 97 Rock. Check in, John. Hello, John.
Hi.
Hi there.
I wanted to ask John Anderson where he got the idea for the Friends of Mr. Cairo.
That came from when we first put the initial track down. It sounded like a kind of 30s style movie piece of music, and I'd been watching a film called The Maltese Falcon. At the time, I had a cassette, and it was just one of those kind of films that I've been very involved in. I kind of watched it a lot, and I thought it would be nice to try and put together a musical version of it, and the lyric kind of represents the Maltese Falcon with Sidney Greenstreet and Peter Lorre. Peter Lorre was Mr. Cairo, as it happened in the film, and that's how it came about, really.
Does he play? And Peter Lorre plays in this video thing of yours?
Yeah, the video is the Maltese Falcon.
Yeah.
And Peter Lorre is Mr. Cairo.
And how did you get James Stewart involved?
Well, that was just a bit of fun at the end.
Oh, okay.
Because Jimmy Stewart, one of the lines in the song is that I wouldn't mind Jimmy Stewart to be president, because I've always liked Jimmy Stewart.
Okay.
And then the guy that was doing the voiceover, he was an actor, and he could do a pretty good Jimmy Stewart.
Oh, so it wasn't the real Jimmy? He just
No, it was just the guy that was doing the voiceovers, you know.
Okay. Well, that answers that call about Mr. Cairo, which we'll be playing a little taste of. Let's go to Andy of L.A. joining us over at KLOS. Hi there, Andy.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
Hey, John.
Hey.
I've enjoyed your music for years, and I was wondering, It seems like your solo music has had some certain spiritual overtones, and I was wondering how these concepts developed from, like, Elias of Sunhillow to Song of Seven. And I have one comment that I really enjoy the contribution of your family, like Jenny and Damian James and your daughter.
Thank you. I think that being involved in music for so long, it kind of inspires me to write about things that are at the back of my mind most of the time, and I think the back of a lot of people's minds, and I think possibly it comes through in the lyrical essence of the things that I write. And with Elias, it was a very strong time in my career. I just wanted to learn a few things about music, so I shoved myself away in a studio for about 5 months and put it all together. And the lyrical side possibly was very spiritual because deep inside I wanted to get something out of my system, and with the help of whatever we might want to put, the word God came through the music, through myself, and I felt that at the end of making that album that I'd achieved something inside that was very strong and spiritual for myself, and all I wanted to do was to portray it in music and hope that other people would understand that.
Thank you. Thank you for the call, Andy. It's a beautiful answer, too. Okay, as you all know, of course, we're just talking about Philadelphia and the Stones. The Stones being over there in Philadelphia for 2 days. And they played in Buffalo last night. So we're going to go live now, if you don't mind, John, and I think you'll enjoy it, too, to George Harris of the WGRQ, standing by to tell us a little bit about the show there yesterday. Go ahead, George.
Yes, Beamer, can you hear me?
Yes, very good.
Yeah, the Rolling Stones were here yesterday. Many people attended a Grateful Dead concert Saturday night here in Buffalo, and then stayed up all night waiting for the Stones. At 11 in the morning yesterday, a monsoon-like rain started, and it poured for 2 straight hours. The crowd reaction was perfect. Most of the 80,000 people just sat there and couldn't care less about the weather. Getting drenched was worth a good seat. The concert started at noon. George Thorogood opened the show and played his entire set through the rain. Journey came on afterwards. And by the time the Stones came on, it was almost like a miracle. The weather took a complete turn. It became sunny, warm, and the sky was blue. The Stones' music mix was the best this time of the past 3 tours, a good mixture of vintage and recent hits. The crowd was remarkably well behaved in Buffalo with only 9 arrests. Because of their ages, people have called this tour the geriatric tour. Being in the fast lane for the number of years that the Stones have been, you worry that one of them might throw his back or separate his shoulder, but the Rolling Stones came on like the Harlem Globetrotters. It was only the 3rd show, so they were fresh, full of energy, very enthusiastic, and Mick Jagger was strutting and bouncing around like a puppy, using his patented, teasing, cocky body language. And for the toll it must take on his vocal cords, Jagger's singing was reliably powerful. Personally, to me, it didn't feel like a concert. It felt more like an important, limited edition event that a music lover shouldn't miss. Starting off with Under My Thumb, the aura, the mystique of living legends banging out songs that I've been dancing to since I was 10 was wonderful. There's not too many bands that could fire up 80,000 people at once the way the Stones played yesterday. They could probably turn on the entire state of New York. The stadium is huge, and it was difficult to see in the time, but no matter where you were, you could definitely feel them. The presence of the Rolling Stones was overwhelming. But did I like the show? This is George Harris of WGRQ in Buffalo, New York, reporting live for the Global Satellite Network.
Thank you, George. We'll be back with more music and calls with John Anderson, as well as Jeff Lynne of ELO and the Little River Band. So don't go away. We'll be right back on Rockline. Great report. Loved it. Sorry I couldn't talk to you more about it.
Interesting show tonight. Back to Rockline now with B. Mitchell Reed and his guest, John Anderson.
Hi, this is Greg Kinn, and you're listening to Rockline.
Rockline, that's right. Being back here on the Rockline with my guest, John Anderson, and of course, John, have we let you talk enough, John? I mean, to people.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Oh, there can be a lot more calls. But we did mention, of course, Mr. Cairo, and we did mention about the Peter Lorre, and we did mention anybody who was a John Huston fan, the Maltese Falcon, a Humphrey Bogart fan, right? So there's a cut out of the brand new John Anderson and Vangelis affair, which is like 12 minutes long. And it's been done into a video affair.
True.
And I'm not going to be able to play the entire song because of the ramifications of time, right? So if you don't mind, everybody, I'd love to have you listen to a great taste of Anderson and Vangelis. Here's a feel of an abridged version of the Friends of Mr. Cairo here on the Rockline. I got to have a talk with all those Rockline people. I mean, all my global satellite network stations, and say, look, guys, we're going to have to extend the show. I want to play a long 12-minute cut from time to time. Otherwise, a lot of people will be playing it after the midnight hour. You know how we are doing things these days in FM, having a lot of fun, right? Get that record in. Yeah. That's awfully pretty. That's a taste, of course, of the Friends of Mr. Cairo out of the brand new thing, collaboration of John Anderson and Vangelis, and we're back to taking calls. I loved it. Let's go to Gail of Houston over KLOL. Go ahead, Gail, talk to John. Gail.
Hello.
Hello, Gail. Hi.
Hello, John.
Hello there. How are you?
All right.
Good.
I've waited 7 years for this opportunity to have some sort of communication with you.
Good.
And do you and Vangelis plan to tour?
I think that maybe one day we'll get together and tour. He's more of a studio sort of person. He doesn't like going on stage too much.
Another time, perhaps in the future, dear. Stay tuned, Gail. We'll let you know over the Global Satellite Network for sure. Let's go to our Philadelphia station, and let's pick up on Bill. How you doing, Bill?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
John?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 2 questions. What were the reasons why you left Yes? And did you and Rick leave at the same time and for the same reason?
Well, Rick was into two minds about the situation. There was a long discussion that we thought it may be a good time to have a break for a while, because most of the big bands that have been able to carry on, they've always had maybe a year off to keep things alive, really. And it was a suggestion that we have a break for a while. And the majority wanted to just keep going, and me and Rick felt it'd be nice to have a bit of time to rethink things, and basically that's why the other guys decided to carry on, and Rick had decided on his own that he wanted to have a break for a year anyway, and I followed on and just thought, well, maybe one day we'll all get back together again.
But that's one day maybe.
One day maybe.
One day maybe. That's a good way of putting it. Our Philadelphia station, by the way, was WYSP, or is WYSP. Let's go to John of Portland. Hello, John. How are things over there at KGON?
Very good. I'd like to ask you, John, how did you and Chris first meet? And, what were your feelings at the time?
Well, at the time, it was London 1968. I was searching for some musicians to get together with, and it's a funny thing. I was working in a bar in London, cleaning up the glasses and sweeping up late nights and stuff. And about 7 o'clock in the evening, I was sitting at one end of the bar, and there was Chris at the other end of the bar, and the bartender came up to me and said, "You're looking for a bass player?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "We'll go over to the other side of the bar." And there was Chris, and it was a really good meeting at the time, and I went back to his house, and we started writing songs all that evening, in fact.
John, do you have any copies of the old Move? The album Move, remember Move? Remember, do you? Do you remember California, California Man? Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you got a collector's item if you do, okay? Thank you, John.
Okay.
Another call from Michael of Jacksonville. Michael of Jacksonville of Rock 105. Go ahead, Michael, go fast, 30 or 40 seconds.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you something that I've wondered about for years. What inspired you to write Tales?
That's in 2 seconds. How long have we got?
Well, you got about.
I understand what you're saying. I think the idea to get involved in such a heavyweight subject was just it was a very heavy musical area as well. I think it was just a very, very strong challenge for me, and I was very, very committed to get into it, and I was happy that I went through it, and it was a good experience.
Any other question there, Michael?
Another question?
Wait, yeah, anything you want to cover? We've got a few more seconds.
Yes, will you play at my wedding?
Yeah.
Send us the details. The man will be there with bells on. He'll even get Vangelis out of his studio in London, okay?
So much, yeah.
Okay, thank you very, very much. John, I can't tell you how happy I have to have the opportunity to meet you for the first time, because I've enjoyed your music for so long, beginning with Move, because to me it is probably a collector's item.
Thank you.
That Brontosaurus thing, just a wild bit. So the man known as John Anderson, who's got an album out with Vangelis, and we'll be right back to talk to Jeff Lynne of ELO, and the Little River Band will also be here a little later on to take your calls, so don't go away. We'll be right back with more fun on Rockline. John Anderson, you've been fun.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
You're listening to BMR on Rockline and KLOS Los Angeles.
Way back when, about 2 minutes ago here on the Rockline, this is the Beamer back there, I made an ass of myself because I was really looking forward to my next guest. I remember the name of Jeff Lynne, and I was thinking about a classic group called Move, and if for some funny reason I tied him in with John Anderson, which is an occasional thing. A file card does not fall into place when it should. Is that right, Jeff? You'll understand that.
I guess so.
You better understand, or you'll have to throw you right out of the studio.